All right, today your objective is the students will learn to compute probability with permutations and combinations in order to calculate the likelihood of an event occurring. Today's problems you're really going to have to pay attention to whether it's a permutation or combination, and you're really going to have to make sure you pay attention to what the question's asking. So remember, permutations, order matters, they're picky, and they have specific places things need to go. So a lot of times they'll say who needs to go first, who needs to go second, who needs to be first, second, or third, or president, vice president, secretary, treasurer, etc. So Taylor Swift, Rihanna, Beyonce, Bruno Mars, and the Rolling Stones agreed to determine the order of the performance based on random selection. What is the probability of, and this is the important part, the Rolling Stones performing fourth and Bruno Mars performing last? So here's technically how we would calculate this. Probability of the Rolling Stones fourth, Bruno Mars last, is we would start with, on the top of our fraction, we would have the number of permutations with Rolling Stones fourth and Bruno Mars last. So I might start with 5 little slots at the top, and then I'm going to have my fraction bar, and then I'm going to have 5 little slots at the bottom, because there's 5 performers and each person is going to go. So for the top, we need Rolling Stones to go fourth, which means we only have one option for fourth, and we need Bruno Mars to go last, so we have one option for last. That leaves 3 options for the first, 2 options for the second, and 1 option for the third, since there were 5 total. You're going to put that number divided by the total number of possible outcomes, which this means there's no limitation on who goes first, second, or third. So you have 5 options for the 5 options for the first, 4 for the second, 3, 2, 1. So then what you would do is you would calculate this. 3 times 2 times 1 times 1 times 1 is 6, divided by 5 times 4 times 3 is 120. And then you're going to want to hit math, enter, enter, and simplify, which I believe simplifies to 1 over 20. So that means the probability of the Rolling Stones performing fourth and Bruno Mars last is 1 out of 20. Now you're going to have to do probability with combinations, where order does not matter. And this is where it's groups, committees. Those are some keywords that clue you into probability with combinations. So this is a 2-part problem. It has 2 different parts. Club consists of 5 men. What I would do is I would highlight my 5 men one color and my 7 women another color. 3 members are to be selected at random, so you need 3 members to attend the conference. Find the probability of, and the first question asked, 3 men. Okay, so we need 3 men. A good rule of thumb to set this up is I'm going to start listing my total number of people. So the total number of people is the 5 men and the 7 women, which equals 12. And then the number of men is 5, and the number of women is 7, and needed, in this case, we're going to be choosing 3 people. Okay? So kind of notice the difference between part A and part B. Part A, you just need 3 men, so we don't have to make it as complicated as it could be. So probability of 3 men, I'm just going to put 3M, equals the number of ways of selecting 3 men. Well, I'm going to set my fraction up. I'm going to fill in the blanks. This is a combination problem. All right, so the number of ways we could select 3 men. Well, we have 5 men, so we would have 5 men to choose from, and we need 3. over the total number of possible combinations. So that's going to be the total number of people, 12, and you still need 3. And so you would calculate each number. I believe 5 choose 3 is 10, and then 12 choose 3 is 220, and then you're going to simplify that to 1 out of 22. Okay? So again, I think the key to these problems are kind of identifying your totals, what you have and what you need. All right, now we're going to do probability of, we need 1 man and 2 women. So this is going to change things a little. We're going to have 2 numbers at the top. So I'm going to write this as probability of 1 man, 2W. All right, well, we already know the bottom of our fraction is the total number of possible outcomes. And that's the same as before. You have the 12 total, and you still need 3. So now you're going to do a separate scenario for men, and then you're going to multiply it by the scenario for women. So if you need to label that, this is going to be men, and this is going to be women. So men, you have 5 total men to choose from, and in this scenario, you need 1. And then for women, you have 7 total women to choose from, and in this scenario, you need 2. So now what's going to happen is you're going to do 5, choose 1, and you could choose that equals 5. So I'm going to come down here, and it's going to be 5 times 7, choose 2, which is 21. And I would put that in parentheses. And then 12 choose 3, I believe, is 223. I'm sorry, 220. And now we're going to simplify. So 5 times 21, this is going to be 105 over 220, and you're going to simplify. Math, enter, enter. So what that means is the probability of choosing 1 man and 2 women is 21 out of 44. Okay, so these are the 2 main scenarios you're going to have, so hopefully you have good notes. I'm going to do in one example of each for you. Okay, so in number 5, you have Martha, Lee, Nancy, Paula, and Armando have been invited to a dinner party. They arrive randomly, and each person arrives at a different time. Find the probability that Martha will arrive first and Armando will arrive last. So this is going to be a permutation problem, so hopefully you can use number 1 to help you. Okay. So if you want to set this up, we would have Martha first, and then I'm just going to put him last in equals. All right, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So again, we're going to have, here's my fraction bar, we're going to have 5 slots at the top for 5 people, and 5 slots at the bottom. All right, so if Martha needs to arrive first, that means we have 1 option for first, and Armando last, 1 option for last. And then you fill in the blanks, you have 3 left over, 2, and 1. On the bottom, this is where nothing matters. So you would have 5 people to choose from for first, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then you multiply these numbers. I do the top separately, and hopefully you get 1 over 20. Okay? All right, the last problem, a group consists of 4 men and 5 women. So hopefully this is kind of referring you back to example 2. You have 4 men, 5 women. You need 3 people to attend a conference, and we want to know the probability that consists of all women. Okay, so I would start out by doing your total. Your total number of people is 4 men and 5 women, which makes 9. And then you have 4 men. And then we need 3. All right, so the probability of 3 women. So we would set our fraction up. We're going to have something, and since this is just 3 women, we only are going to have 1 C up at the top. All right, so we can't even think about the men because we don't need any men. So how many women do we need? We have 5 women, and if all of them are going to be women, we would need 3 because they want 3 people on their committee. Out of the total, we have 9, and we would still need, we would still need 3. So hopefully you could do this on your calculator and you would get 5 over 42. Okay? So that concludes the basis of your notes. You need to use this to do your practice, and I've kind of done the practice differently today. You need to refer to your color, to your groupings. If you're in the colored category, that means you need to pick up the colored paper. If you're in the white category, that means you pick up the white paper. I tried to do a mix between where people sit, so you guys have they're the same problems, there's just different hints on different papers. So again, this is for 4A. So please make sure you pick up the paper that you need, and then this is going to be for 4B. And if you need to check in with me, I'll be circulating throughout the room as the class goes on. Okay, so then you need to, hopefully you can get your classwork done and turn it in. If not, you'll have to finish it for homework, and then we will have a closure.